Good day, and I will be talking about printing of drugs. I'm a researcher from Åbo Academy University from Finland, and we are mainly working with two-dimensional and three-dimensional printing systems to find tailored dosage forms for individualized drug therapy. So the concept of personalized medicine is taking into account the patient specifications and putting that into the drug therapy, so we would get better effectivity and safety in the drug therapy. So as we know, people are different. So we are different in age, weight, and of course we have also variations in the genetics, and that supports the fact that one drug and one drug formulation is not suitable for all. So tailored drug preparations for individual patients are often required, and that is due to the fact that in the drug preparation development, we are looking for a high therapeutic effect with less adverse reactions and incompatibilities as possible. A dosage form is a drug preparation where we have a certain drug with certain additives in a certain dose and a physical form. Well-known dosage forms that everybody has seen or used are, of course, solid dosage forms where we have tablets, capsules. Then we have, of course, as well liquid preparations. For example, cough medicine sometimes. Then we have parenteral preparations that often include injections, and as well as semi-solids like ointments and other local preparations. The most preferred dosage forms for people are solid dosage forms, because nobody wants to poke themselves with needles, and they want to get their drugs in as fast as possible. Liquid preparations are good for tailoring the dose that we are administering to the patients. However, sometimes they are too inaccurate, especially when it comes to drugs that are administered in low doses, in just a couple of milligrams. So the patients, the people that require medications, they might require the medication in high doses or lower doses, or they might require multiple drugs at the same time. Also, the amount of drug that can be administered can change according to the diagnostic response that we get during the treatment period. Or we have a need for rare medication that is not produced in a larger industrial scale. So we need something that can provide us solid preparations according to the patient needs. Printing technology, in that sense, provides us high accuracy and a small-scale production with an on-demand manufacturing nature. So we can provide individual dosing with a simple formulation setup, or we can make flexibly combination preparations where we have included multiple drug components, as well as making tailored medical devices. In this case, we are talking about medical devices that have drugs included in them. So the manufacturing of printed dosage forms is considered cost-effective compared to the conventional, for example, tableting, where we have less production steps and less places where we can go wrong, or where we need to add anything else to make the process go smoothly. And mainly this manufacturing method is suitable for active pharmaceutical ingredients, that means the drugs, with low doses, when we talk about, for example, two-dimensional printing, and the drugs that have a narrow therapeutic index, meaning that the difference between the drug effect and the toxic effect is small, or the drug components that are rarely used or have poor stability. Here are some examples how a two-dimensional printing products might look like. And when we talk about 3D printing and the design concepts there, we can go on from our traditional tablets to create more different geometries that can allow us to modify how the drug is released from those structures and taken up by the body. As well as here we have an example from a group in UK where they have made actually with a hot melt inkjet printer tablets with a defined inner structures with a honeycomb structure, where the drug release from these tablets was then dependent on the available surface area within these tablets. And here's an example of how the dose can be tailored. And here's an example by inkjet printing. So in these inkjet printed formulations, we have a substrate. It usually is an edible carrier, a flat sort of small piece of paper that you can eat. And then we have a drug-loaded ink solution. This can also be something else, like a suspension or something, but as long as it contains the drug. And we can print that with a different resolution. So in this case, then the pattern of the ink is changed, and the increase of the resolution also increases the drug content within a certain area that has been printed. And here is an example of caffeine, that microscopic images of that, where increasing the resolution, of course, then increases the amount of drug that has been crystallized on this inert surface. So we get a printed dosage form where the drug is on the surface layer of the polymeric film or the edible carrier. And other methods of dose tailoring are here by creating smaller or larger unit sizes, and that of course changes the drug content, as well as layering, so where you print several layers on top of each other, making it really similar to 3D printing, where we are creating layer by layer structures. That is also possible with inkjet printing, just the structure might not look like it's been three-dimensionally made. And then the concepts of making multi-drug combination systems. So there are very many different ways how you can combine multiple materials within the systems. And here are just a couple of examples from sort of two-dimensional structures where we can add the different drug layers on top of each other, where we can pattern them differently, however is necessary, or as well as creating some compartment matrices where we can separate the different drug components and thus avoiding any interactions between these drugs before they're administered to the patient. And this all could be then prepared for example, in a hospital pharmacy environment by different printing methods when they are provided by the drug ink or for example, or the filaments in the 3D printing. A couple of examples here. The inkjet printing. Here are some oromucosal formulations that have been made in the lab. So they look pretty much similar, but as you can see here, we have the first one is a single drug system, where the drug is only printed on the surface of the structure. In a dual drug system, however, we have the drug that is loaded into the matrix fibers, and then the other drug that has been printed on top of that matrix. In the example of 3D extrusion printing, we have fairly conventional looking tablets there, but they are including 5 different drugs. So as well as, again here, the group from UK, they have created a complex structure with 5 drugs in one formulation. And as well as we have before already seen some much more advanced versions of medical devices, but here we have some examples of drug delivery devices. So with the SLA, it's possible to take a 3D model from a volunteer to make it personalized, and then provide a printed drug-loaded device. For example, here it's a no-shape one against acne that they have researched. And in the other case, we can also create some drug-loaded devices with fused deposition modeling for in this case, intrauterine systems. By just changing the drug amount within the 5 filaments that are printed, we can tailor the medical device according to the patient. When we are talking about drug formulations, then we always have to talk about the quality control, because this is one way we can make sure that we have the drug in there in the right form, in the right amount. And here are a couple of unconventional methods that are not very widely applied at the moment, but they have been shown some good potential to be used in the quick quality control when we are producing it and then analyzing it right after the production. For example, colorimetry, that can measure then the color intensity within the printed formulations, and then correlating that with the drug content in these samples. And as well as different spectroscopy methods, mostly Raman spectroscopy and near-infrared spectroscopy. And here is an example of a handheld device that is fairly small, that can be then quickly used to analyze the printed formulation. And the spectra that is obtained from there can be analyzed, can be put into a multivariate model, and that can tell you how much of drug has been printed. And this is nothing to do with the color of the formulation, but it's just an example there that you have a change in the intensity of the printed amount. So in conclusion, the printing of medicines, we have a lot of options there that we can use and that we can try, and that is applicable for various tailoring of drugs. We can obtain precise dosing of low amounts of drugs, and according to the patient, we can tailor the dose and then get that based on the digital design. We can create solid dosage forms, solid drug delivery systems that can be straight taken by the patient. And we can also combine different drugs within one system. And quality control by spectroscopic method seems to be a fairly easy way to provide the product quality. So in conclusion, on-demand manufacturing with verified product quality can be achieved by printing technology. And most of this work that I've done within this study is in a collaboration with Obacadim University from Finland and University of Tartu from Estonia. So with that, I would like to thank you for your attention.